perspective. Look, she's got highlights. I almost mistook this for, this is not yours?
Yeah, it is mine.
Okay, I was like,
I'm like
it's nice if somebody else did that for you. I got one, I ordered one off the internet the other day and somebody had already highlighted it for me, so that's really helpful. Okay, so the life course perspective, let's put that up here. When I say that, what do you think? Let's go with the word perspective. What's a perspective?
Point of view.
Okay, how to look at it, how we see it. This is one perspective. So let me break something down for you just a little bit. When you are going through the School of Social Work, you're going to learn about a lot of different theories. And really, this is a theory class. This and the theories class that you're taking are both theories classes. When you get to practice one, that's where you'll learn more of your social work skills and things like that. But one of the things that's really important in social work is that you know that it's going to take your skills and your knowledge, all right, to work with clients, okay? And this is where you get your knowledge, okay? Your empirically studied knowledge. Does anybody know what I mean when I say empirically studied? Empirically evidenced.
Facts.
Facts, maybe? What else? Okay, so empirical evidence are those things, they're like stats, like facts. It's where someone has gone and they had an idea, okay, and you're gonna see lots of those people. You're gonna see people like Bowlby and Maslow and Erickson. Some of those people are mentioned in the course text. And what that means is they had an idea about how humans work, okay, about the life course, all right? And they thought about that idea enough that they wanted to study some people, okay? So typically they went out and maybe they did some studies on people, or maybe they were in practice enough that they thought this is a good idea because the people I'm seeing, they seem to all have the same problem. They seem to all have the same issues, okay? There's also evidence that we take as social workers from the medical field. Okay, and evidence from psychology. You know, people will say that social work kind of started back with Sigmund Freud and some of those ideas. Now, we don't do those all the time now, do we? I'm not going to go to my private practice this afternoon and start talking about, you know, I'm going to lay somebody on the couch and say, okay, you know, what's the id, the ego, all of these kinds of things like Freud. However, it's really important that you understand that when one person has a theory, somebody will come along and sort of build on that. So it's not that we totally erase this person's ideas, it's that the next person may have had something that seems a little more interesting, not interesting, but a little more workable, okay? Yeah, a little more efficient, or a little more plausible, or maybe they added something else to it, okay? So in the life course perspective, this is a perspective as the way that someone sees it, okay? So the person who put this together used all of those theorists, not all of them, but many of the theories that we use in social work today that we ascribe to. That means in social work, that's what we use, okay? So when we're out in practice, that's what we say, okay, I'm gonna go and this is my viewpoint, this is the perspective I'm going to use with these clients, because this person in our classroom, this person brought this person and this person's ideas to the classroom. Okay.
You're logged in?
Huh?
You're logged in?
In one way, yes. I can't do this. So, let me show you. Excuse me, class.
So you can't get into campus. Okay. I'm gonna have to direct you to help desk on that because they manage this stuff.
Oh, I thought that's who I was calling.
No, call classroom support. Help desk is 2208.
Okay,
Yeah, they do stuff like this.
okay, okay.
Yeah, so you're in the computer, you're in, the network is, yeah.
Okay.
It sounded like you had a network issue, but this is a problem with the canvas credentials.
Okay,
Okay?
all right,
All right.
thank you.
Sure.
Okay. I knew that. However, my person that I talked to this morning told me not to say that. So don't tell, she said, don't tell them it's with Canvas. And so that didn't work. That troubleshooting didn't work. All right, so y'all are witness to, my plight here. Okay, so what I'm getting at is that when we're going through these are things that have been studied and researched, and there's some evidence that says they work. All right, so there's some things we're going to learn about the life course. A couple of things, and I'll mention this before we get started. One thing I find really interesting about the information is that, and I didn't realize this, that we all have a life course, right? We all, crazy as it is, we all come into this world the same way, even if it's by different means or methods. You know, maybe we come into this world through in vitro or those kinds of things. We'll talk about that next week when we get into the next chapter. But we all come into this world the same way, and we all die, right? And what's really interesting is all over the world, that's the same. And all over the world, we as humans have some commonalities, okay? Yeah, they say I guess we all bleed red or whatever. That's just a saying. But anyway, it's interesting, like if you go to Africa or South America or England or Russia, in many ways we're all the same. Because when we raise children, we may do that differently, okay? It's just an example. We may do that differently. However, we all develop the same way. And that's what some of these theories are saying. So kind of that you have to crawl before you walk. So, and that's the same in other countries. Even though we may do things like potty train, or we may get married at a different time in life, there are these commonalities. And I just think that is so interesting. And I never really realized it until I got into these things and started looking at what some of the theories are saying. So this is the life course perspective. And the other day, what did I say? This is conception. And then we go all the way in this class to death, or the end of life, or however, we say it. We have such trouble with this. I still do too, where this is just hard to say. We don't want to think about this, do we? I don't know. We don't have a lot of acceptance there. But anyway, on this long path here, it can look, like a kind of a little bit of a wave, I have that day to day or whatever. Or it can go like this, like I said the other day. I don't know what yours is like. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. But everybody's path is a little bit different based on some things that happen, okay? What are some of the things that could make this path not a straight path?
All of the homes we grew up in.
Okay.
Like your environment.
Yes, environment is very important. And I'm sorry I don't know everybody's name. Tell me your name.
Marissa.
Marissa.
A disability.
And what's your name?
Morgan.
Okay. So differing abilities. Morgan. I have to say your name sometimes, so I'll remember it maybe one day. Okay.
Major
Am I still
life
running
events?
back there?
Yes.
Okay. You'll be very, very grateful that I did that since we're here. Okay. Just peek in the cloud. Oh, here comes Jerry. Okay, so different abilities, and you were gonna say something?
A major life event.
Okay, major
Yeah.
life events. Somebody read the book, yes. Yes, what else?
Turning points.
Okay, like life turning
Yeah.
points, she's read the book. See, she knows the terminology. Hello, Jerry. I told him what you said.
Yeah, I just talked to him.
He turned me away.
Yeah, have to go through Canvas.
Yes, I know.
But did you get your laptop working?
No, and see if I can get this working, then the other day Canvas worked, and I can just plug it in there and make it work up here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I did it the other day when I couldn't get on here. I'm sorry for the mess here. Okay. All right, so a couple of the things that's important to understand with the life perspective is also that you're gonna see this every chapter, okay? So every one of these phases, conception, and then if we have toddlers, and then, childhood, middle childhood, and it goes on up, okay? We'll do teens and middle adulthood, and then adulthood, and then late adulthood, and then very late adulthood. I think they start adding on because people are getting older, you know, and lasting longer, okay? It just takes longer for them to get to this point now, right? Okay, so one of the things that's important to know is that every person is biological, psychological, it's emotional, spiritual, and social. And this little guide here, you're gonna see this in your course text. It's a neat little square, but not all of it's listed in there. So, but these are the elements. Each one of us has these. Everybody in the world is a biological person, a psychological person, a social person, and a spiritual person. And spiritual, don't get that confused with religious. We'll talk about that later. Okay? It's not the same. Spiritual and religion are not the same. Give a little advertisement. I'm the faculty person for the spirituality and social work. If anybody wants to come, anyone is welcome. You don't have to be a certain religion or anything, but we do a lot of good things, and we're only having a meeting on Wednesday. Okay, so as a biological person, what do you think I mean by that?
Like the things that were made.
Okay, so like our physical self, okay? We all have a physical self, all right? Interestingly, in the typical human life, we all have a head and 2 arms and 2 legs and organs that are the same. Everybody, all right? So when I go through the chapters of this course text, of the life course, you're gonna see a biological element to that, okay? When you do like your presentation that you're gonna be doing, you're going to touch on each one of these. Because I could go anywhere. I could talk about the teenager as a biological person, psychological, spiritual, and social person. Okay? This is the holistic perspective, but it also includes, someone said the environment a minute ago, our environment, okay, which is like our ecological self, that's the things around us. And it also includes the people around us, the relationships that we have. And that's part of another theory that we'll talk about too, is the systems theory. But I don't wanna be like I'm making a drink from a fire hose this morning. So, the biological, what's the psychological person? And there's another one.
Here you go.
Okay,